Isn't it awesome to be able to just mindlessly skin while watching a tier list video from MarcelianOnline? Or maybe you pop Netflix. Whatever you do like to skin, don't you? Because this is why you're here. And you're probably wondering, man, I have all of these leathers and all of these skills. What am I gonna do? Should I just auction all of them off? Should I get leatherworking? Like, what is going to happen with all of these leathers? And maybe I do want to make some gold out of it. And what are the best ways to make this gold so you can actually support whatever you want to spend in WoW, or maybe you want to become one of those big boy gold makers that makes millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of gold. Obviously, there are ways to do that. So we're here focusing on just being able to increase your gold by spending and buying everything that you want, so you don't have to, you know, constantly buy WoW tokens, which is a weird segue, but hey, we're doing it and we're going into it right off the bat. First of all, as a disclaimer, which is probably something boring to hear, but you do need to hear it because it is very relevant, and that everything is highly dependent on your server prices. And this is not something that I personally will know. This is something that only you will know, because it depends on what server you are and what people there want. Whatever leathers sell for more, whatever special trophies sell for more, whatever special elementals sell for more, that's all down to what server you are on and what the demand is. It's very good to know what the demand is, so you know basically what to farm and where you can get the most bang for your buck. The way to do this is obviously, first of all, go to the auction house and just physically check the prices for all the leathers. And if you don't know exactly what to look for, we already have a skinning guide that talks about all the materials that you can get and sell with skinning. I'm not going to go into that as well. So go to the auction house, check all the prices, see what's what, or essentially get Trade Skill Master. And although this add-on is very big, it definitely uses a desktop application as well. And I'm not going to go into how to use it because it's very in-depth. That's not important. That's not what we need. What we need is just to have it installed and have it just AFK running in the background. Because what it will do that you're interested in is it will extend the tooltip of your items. And when you scroll over an item with your mouse, you'll be able to see the price that it has on the auction house on your server, which is really good because then you don't just have to constantly search for them. If you're like, you know, on a world quest binge, or maybe you're just been farming for a couple of hours and you don't know exactly what the prices are anymore, you can just use this and check. It runs a background check on the price on the auction house on your server every so often. I think it's about once every 45 minutes or something like that. That might change, but that's one of the things. Now, if you do decide to farm, and we're going to go into this a little bit deeper into the video, there are two ways to do this. Obviously, if you're going to solo, you'll probably want a class that does this really well. I talked about this again in the skinning video, which you can check. And if you do decide to solo, you'll probably want to farm like little small packs here and there and just constantly pull them and have like a route. And then when you come back, they'll respawn again, and then you can just do this over and over and again. This is one way you can do it if you just don't want to be bothered with groups. But if you are fine with doing it with groups, you can either make your own groups or you can search them in the looking for group system. What you'll probably be looking for is 2x4 groups. What this means is that there will be 2 actual parties of 4 people each that will be farming specific spawn points. The reason this is, to my knowledge, and I don't think this changed, and if it did, please correct me in the comment section below, a mob can only be tagged, killed, and, well, it can be killed by many people, but it can only be looted by 5 total people. So the reason why you're doing the groups this way is because 4 of the people in one group obviously tag a mob, and that mob can still be eligible to be tagged by 1 more person. And if that 5th person is in a second party, then everybody in that person's party can also tag the mob. So instead of just having 5 total players being able to skin a beast, you have 8, which is obviously good because more leathers for more people, but also there's going to be 8 people involved in the pulling, in the grouping, in the killing of the mobs, which is definitely way faster. And this is how you activate the hyper spawning system, where you basically, as soon as you kill the last beast, the next wave already is spawned, and you just like constantly pull, kill, skin, pull, kill, skin. And you do this infinitely for however long people stay there. And then this is how you maximize your leather farming. But where to actually go and farm these? Now, I've mentioned in the skinning video all of the little different leathers that you can get from different types of beasts, depending on what you want. If you have leatherworking, maybe you need a specific one. Or maybe your server pays better for specific items, so it's probably better to just farm them there, since you will be looking to get some of these trophies, but this is not the main source of your goal. So first of all, we didn't go too much into detail in the skinning video, but for the Rockfang leathers, you'll find them in the Rockfang cats, and the best place that we found for these cats to spawn is in Unarmed Plains all the way to the north. There's a pit there, everybody's farming this, everybody knows, not something new. and you can just find the group and just do that infinitely. It is amazing. Proto Drakes are a good source of the scales, a good source of the dragon specific items, which you can get if that's not necessarily that sought after, but hey, for the sake of completionists, we're gonna put this here as well. There's a good spot in Waking Shores right around here, and you can just get the Proto Drakes there. The Vorkin in Thaldraszus are the best source of pristine Vorkin horn right now. There are definitely spread all throughout the Dragon Isles. I'm not going to go into all of the spawn points, but this is really good to spawn, especially if you're farming them solo, because I actually haven't seen a lot of groups farming, actually any groups farming pristine horns so far. I don't know if they're that sought after, but hey, if you need them, you can just go here in Thaldraszus, and more importantly, here you'll also find the Onaran birds, which are a source for Wild Song plumage, which is also a special material, which is also really good. And I don't know if I was just lucky, but it seemed like the drop chance is way higher here than on any other birds, and it's kind of easier to pull them since they're always on the path of some Vorkin. And you have some bears to, you know, give you a little bit of variety there as well. Thunder lizards are found in Northern Plains, and you probably want them if you need the cacophonous thunder scale. They're spread out through a big plain. You can just constantly chain pull and have a little route for yourself, or you can find some groups. Again, I haven't really seen groups do this. Groups don't usually farm spots where you just go heavily deep into a route and just like move a lot. People just want to stay still and just skin for like hours. So you can do this in Thunder Lizards in Northern Plains, like right around here. It's pretty good. Go for it. You do encounter one big elite that's part of the Great Hunt, and you might want to be ready for that. Save some DPS cooldowns and to take it down. Next up is the Salamander Scale, which is something that I farmed the least, and they're not particularly often found out in the wilds. There are a couple of good spots. One of them that you might be looking for, because I haven't seen anybody do this, although there are people that know about this spot, is all the way northeast in Waking Shores on a bank very close to where you first land in Dragon Isles when you start your questing. You'll find a bunch of salamanders there that you can scale. They're right adjacent to a lot of proto drakes, which you can also, you know, include in your route if you just want to constantly scale and never stop. The Crystal Spine fur is found in the Crystal Spine Quillbory things, hedgehog dudes in Azure Span. There's a good spot somewhere kind of south in Azure Span where there's a whole bunch of camps of these. This is also another beast that I haven't hyper farmed because I couldn't find any group that does this, but I was able to very easily solo them because they have very little HP. Either pull 4 at a time if that's better for your class. You can pull like a whole bunch of packs. You'll find some Vork in there as well to add it if you need some pristine horns as well. And there's quite a few packs. If you do like a complete route of this south side, you will probably not run out of mobs to kill, which is pretty good. The last is maybe the more annoying ones to get is the Fire Infused Hide, which weirdly enough sells for the least amount of gold on my server, which is weird because it's the more annoying one to get and harder to get also. I haven't been able to find a specific spawn point for beasts that give you this so you can actually farm, so you'll probably have to make a route and just gather a bunch of stuff. So far, it seems like the mammoths are the biggest source of Fire Infused Hide. They have the higher drop chance, but they're also harder to kill because they just have like a million HP. Not a million actually, but they have a lot of HP and it's very annoying to get them down. The best way that I've found is on rocks, on the high mountain edges things. There's rocks and there's a lot of phoenixes there, and the dread skulls, which also offer you the Fire Infused Hide. And it does seem like the drop chance is pretty good. Like on one particular spot, I was able to get like 3 hides in one go, and that's higher than any other special materials. Maybe that's why they're lower in price on my server also, but that's where you get them. And this is all fine and well, but this is kind of complemented by the next thing that I've kind of hinted in the skinning guide, and that is with the creature bait. Now, I've seen and kind of thought of it myself similarly, is that this doesn't sound like an interesting point to spend skinning points into in terms of specialization, and boy was I wrong, and boy was everybody that thought the same wrong. Definitely get Elemental Infusion. You'll first unlock the Frost Infusion, then you'll have Earth, Decay, and then Order, which is really, really good. These are some of the more important ones, especially for leatherworking, and especially if you do have both of these professions either on the same character or spread throughout different alts. Now, the reason you want this is because pretty much 90% of the groups that farm skinning do require you to have this because it complements skinning so well. And there's two reasons for that. First of all, well, it does spawn a beast that you end up skinning, which is obviously really good and really beneficial. It gives you a higher chance to get the trophies, the special items that we talked about just now, but it also gives you some of these elements. And if you're in a group or like let's say in a party of 4 people with another party of 4 people and everybody does this, you'll just have like a lot of elementals which sell for a lot of gold, at least right now. So the way this works is you craft a normal bait and then you infuse it with one of the elements. Then the beast that spawns, you kill it. And although you use 2, let's say Rousing Frost to craft one of these baits, the beast will drop about 6 or 7, which is obviously really good because you at least triple your Rousing Elementals, which is really good. And obviously if everybody does this, it's massive. And if you're in groups that do this, and you'll be skinning like every second, you'll be skinning, you'll reduce the cooldown of this massively. And if you have extra points in mastery and you just reduce it even more, then it's bait bonanza for everybody. Everybody gets all of the elements. It works amazing. You'll never have these issues, because I have them right now because I didn't have enough points to spend them in, and pretty much everybody maxed out Elemental Infusion now and they all want Titan. And I don't have Titan Infusion and I'm not accepted into any of these groups, even though I kind of want Decay more so than Titan, and I'll tell you in a second why. Now, once you have the bait done, you might want to be aware of a couple of things. Either you complement this with leatherworking, which I highly recommend, or you just sell the materials on the auction house. Actually, leatherworking is more profitable right now than actually selling the materials, which is something that's been the actually opposite from what we've known in Shadowlands and BFA, which is actually really good because crafting needs to be able to make gold. And the reason for this are the armor kits, because the armor kits will need pretty much all of the tips that I've told you, which might not be particularly revolutionary, but they will function into crafting these armor kits, which are selling for a buttload of gold right now. Obviously, the prices will go down in time as people progress further, but it will at least be relevant throughout the entire expansion. The more you do it now, the easier and cheaper it is to get these armor kits in the future and make them yourself and just make a pretty penny if you do have leatherworking, or just sell the materials. First of all, you will want to look into frosted armor kits. These are the cheaper ones. These are probably what the average Joe is buying right now. And for this, the leatherworker that will craft the armor kit will need to have frostbite skills. This is a leatherworking craftable material that needs 1 awakened frost and 1 awakened decay and 2 lustrous hide, which everybody has lustrous hide by now, so that's neither here nor there. And then the actual armor kit needs 10 awakened frost and 4 of these frostbite scales and some adamant scales as well. So that's a total of 14 awakened frost and 1 awakened decay, which frost being the first elemental that you do unlock. Being able to get these 14 frost for 1 armor kit is going to be way easier for you as a skinner, and that's obviously going to be very profitable. Decay is a little bit later on into the elemental infusion, but it is like the 3rd unlock, so yeah. But the even better situation is the fierce armor kit, which right now are crazy in price. I think the quality 3 armor kit is selling for about 15k gold a piece. One of them, 15k gold. That's nuts, and you can make a whole bunch at a time. Dude, obviously for the average Joe, this is a lot of gold, and that's pretty cool. Now, for the fierce armor kit, similarly to the frosted armor kit, you need a total of 14 awakened earth and 1 awakened decay to be able to make this, among, you know, all the other leathers and hides that are just, you know, run-of-the-mill materials. And obviously earth being the second one that you unlock, you can definitely get a whole lot of them, and both of these only need 1 awakened decay. And if you haven't progressed to it so far, because earth is a little bit easier to get, then you can at least buy the awakened decay off the auction house and then just use the rest of the materials, which is going to be really profitable, and you're going to make a lot of gold so far. These are just the starting points of making gold for skinning, and obviously if you do farm all of the special beast spots that I recommended with the elusive creature bait mechanic and system, and even in groups, you will be able to maximize your skinning, gathering leathers, and make all the gold. I have made about 30k gold in 1 day, and that might not sound like a lot, but keep in mind that I've put about 2 to 4 hours into it, and that's mostly in also researching material for the video, so that's kind of like shooting 2 birds with 1 stone. But if you are like, you know, hyper focused on just getting this done, you'll do it a lot faster than I did. And if you have been putting a lot more points into elemental infusion, you might even get into those Titan groups and make even more gold than I did, because the awakened Titan is definitely in need by other professions. So what do you guys think? Did you learn anything new? Is there a tip that you have for us that we probably didn't know so far? Leave us a comment in the comment section down below. Or maybe you're already making gold. Share us your profits down below. Let us know all the goals that you make with skinning and what you've been able to accomplish. Thank you for watching the video. Hope it was helpful. See you next time. Love you, Patreons, for supporting the content. Bye-bye.
I've been loving it then, I still love it now. Still, I play WoW. Still, I play WoW. Getting better every day, let me show you how. Cause still, I play WoW. Still, I play WoW. It's getting harder to stay, but at the end of the day, it's a guilty pleasure, so just log in and play. Whether it's classic or retail, I'ma do a /bow. Still, I play WoW.